I'm Laura Honeck. I own Hymie's Records with my husband.
Hi, I'm Dave Honeck. I think one of our key demographics right now is people maybe our age and younger who grew up in a world where there was increasingly less authenticity to almost everything, and people really crave that. It's appealing to be able to go on YouTube and explore music and figure out whether or not you like something, but if they're really moved by something, they're going to feel a need to have it.
Absolutely. It's not fun to have a really huge iTunes library. That's not fun. It's fun to pull out your records and look at them. There's a physical format you can hold onto and you feel like you're collecting something. Your records live a life before they come to you. Who originally bought it and at what department store, what stickers were on the shrink wrap, if it stayed in that shrink wrap, or if someone wrote on it or scratched it when they accidentally bumped the turntable 17 years ago.
No two copies of Running, Jumping, Standing Still are the same. Not just the different pressings, but periodically they have writing, or they're damaged in a certain way, or they pop really loud. It's a record with quiet passages, so that stuff is really fascinating.
Records come in every day. People come in selling records every day, so that's one thing that's really fun about owning the store is you have no idea what's going to walk in the door today, if it's going to be your favorite record from when you were 5 or if it's going to be some really collectible psych rock thing from the 70s. So
we had a record collection once that was very good stuff, and the records were all pristine. The fellow's name was Meeson, and he picked one spot on the label of every record, and he wrote it in tiny. He must have had the nicest ballpoint pen anyone ever had. Those were fun records to watch come and go because those have come back periodically.
You'll see part of that collection.
And I'll recognize them, and I'll think,
Meeson.
It just reminds you that they don't go away, really. They end up coming back. If not here, they end up in another record store. I love records that have names written on them, and especially when they have multiple names written on them. I think it tells you something about them, You don't really own them so much as you're borrowing them for a while. We've also found really interesting stuff inside records.
Yeah.
That records were apparently once a favorite place to hide pornography from your parents.
Porn is one thing we find a lot. We do find, rolling papers and, weed, like really old weed.
One of my most wanted records is a copy of Joni Mitchell's Miles of Isles. I had it years ago, and it had the most gushy love letter written on it. I can't remember the man's name, but it was written to Sharon. And the record was almost as beautiful as her, and how happy she made him and all this. But it ended up at Savers or Goodwill, where I got it.
What happened between...
So what happened between Jim and Sharon, or Joe and Sharon? I'm not a huge fan, so I got rid of the record, and now I really regret that. That was a gem. To me, that was cooler than a original press of some old Misfits single. Yeah. That was the funniest love letter on a record. My favorite listening station is the one underneath the big window in the front of the shop. You can sit in this comfortable chair with nice big old-fashioned headphones on and watch traffic go by. It's Lake Street, so there's always something weird going on.
We organize everything by the type of music it is, but then within each genre it's alphabetical by artist, and there are some subdivisions. Jazz isn't just jazz. There's Dixieland jazz, big band jazz, jazz vocals, jazz compilations.
We also like creating unusual browsing selections, everything from Hank Williams tribute albums to the ever-popular difficult listening section.
And we've got a section that's the music is so good, but the movie is so bad. Music to fall asleep to, and
bizarre instructional records. I'm surprised when people only look at the new arrivals, because we do hide a lot of the coolest stuff out where it goes.
We just put it out instead of in new arrivals.
That is the funnest thing about going to a record store is what's new, what's going on, and it's where new releases end up, but it's also where the most peculiar stuff ends up because it's probably not going to last. One of the things that we did when we moved the record shop and we had substantially more space was to build a stage, and we've been hosting live music in the back of the shop for a few years now.
Hang the lines in the trees about there now. Stretch our tarp from the corner in the air.
We've had everything from album releases to well-known touring acts and well-known local acts. People don't just want records because they sound better. There's also an aesthetic thing. It's almost like a counter-revolution against iTunes and downloads and the extremely poor quality of that stuff.
Record collecting's fun. Record shopping's fun. It's a fun thing to do with your friends. It's a fun thing to do when you're bored. When we were younger and we would go traveling, the first thing we would do is find a really good diner, and then the second thing we do is find a record store. And so we get a lot of people from out of town that do just that. They come to Minneapolis because there's nine or 10 stores in town that sell records. You get to know your regular customers. They see us, they get to know us. Our kids are up in here, our dog's over here. You do get to know people and know them for years, because you see them once a month or once every 6 months, and some people once a week.
It goes back to the neighborhood experience, that we feel like we live in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. I mean, this store was not going to stay open if we didn't get involved with it, and here we are, part of a community that I'm really proud of.